Last year, an F-150 owner walked into my shop with a $2,300 catalytic converter quote. The dealer said he needed a new converter. Before anyone says, RJ, just cut it out, that's illegal in most states, and if the converter is only clogged, you may not need to replace it at all. I asked him one question. When's the last time this truck spent 20 straight minutes on the interstate? 48 hours later, the code was gone. Same converter, same truck, $0 spent. I'm RJ. 20 years working on Fords. Here's the old American trick that truck mechanics have used for decades before condemning a catalytic converter. And here's the crazy part. Most catalytic converters that get replaced aren't broken. They're just never getting hot enough to clean themselves. That's what this video is about. Most drivers think of a catalytic converter the way they think of a light bulb. Either it works or it doesn't. One day it's fine, the next day it throws a code and needs replacing. That's not how it works. Inside your converter is a ceramic honeycomb coated with precious metals. Platinum, palladium, rhodium. Those metals trigger chemical reactions that convert the toxic gases coming out of your engine into less harmful ones. Genuinely brilliant engineering. But that honeycomb has thousands of tiny passages. Over time, carbon deposits, unburned fuel residue, and combustion byproducts start closing those passages off, slowly and invisibly, until the converter can't do its job efficiently anymore. The engine control module notices the downstream oxygen sensor reading dropping off, sets the P0420 code, and lights up your dash. That's a clogged converter. And a clogged converter is a completely different problem from a dead one. A dead converter has a physically cracked substrate, contaminated precious metals, or a shattered honeycomb. A clogged one is just dirty. Many P0420 codes are caused by a converter that's running too cool and hasn't had a chance to burn clean, not a converter that's physically broken. A P0420 code is not a verdict, it's a symptom. The question is, what caused it? Before you try any cleaning method, you need to know whether you're actually dealing with a clogged converter or something else entirely. The first sign is usually power loss. The truck still runs, it just feels heavy, like it's pulling something it isn't. You merge onto the highway and the response is slower than it used to be. You try to pass someone and there's a hesitation, a pause before the engine commits. It's not dramatic, it's subtle. And most owners just assume the truck is getting old. Fuel economy drops for no obvious reason. A truck that used to get 17 miles per gallon on the highway starts coming in at 14 or 15. No change in driving habits, no obvious mechanical problem, just a gradual decline that's easy to dismiss until you're filling up more often than you used to. Under hard acceleration, particularly at highway speeds, some owners notice a faint sulfur smell from the exhaust. That's a byproduct that a fully efficient converter would be processing. If the converter is partially blocked, some of it gets through. And then there's the P0420 code itself. The computer's been monitoring both the upstream and downstream oxygen sensors, comparing their signals, and decided the converter isn't doing its job well enough. What the code doesn't tell you is why. A dirty, clogged converter will set it. So will a failing oxygen sensor. So will an exhaust leak near the sensor. So will a converter that's genuinely worn out. The code is the starting point, not the diagnosis. Power loss, dropping fuel economy, sulfur smell, P0420, that's the pattern of a clogged converter. Here's the thing about catalytic converters. They were designed with a self-cleaning capability built in. At sustained temperatures above roughly 800 degrees Celsius, the converter can burn off carbon deposits naturally. The engineers designed that in deliberately. The problem is that most modern driving never consistently gets the converter there. Think about how an F-150 actually gets used day to day. Cold starts in the driveway, short trips to the grocery store, idling at school pickup, remote start sitting for 10 minutes before you even get in. Stop-and-go traffic on the way to work, gentle highway cruising at 65 miles per hour in top gear with the engine barely working. All of that keeps the converter running at maybe 400 to 500 degrees. Warm enough to function, not hot enough to run the cleaning cycle it was built to perform. Do that for 50,000 miles and you have a converter that's slowly accumulating deposits while you pay for it in fuel economy and eventually in a repair bill. Modern driving keeps the converter warm. It takes sustained heat to keep it clean. If you're running a 3.5 or 2.7 EcoBoost, there are a few reasons this problem shows up more frequently than it does on a naturally aspirated engine. Turbocharged engines run harder than their displacement suggests. The higher boost levels, increased combustion load, and greater blow-by volume means more carbon-carrying exhaust gas is passing through the converter under normal operation. More demand on the system means faster accumulation when the cleaning conditions aren't met. The direct injection setup on EcoBoost engines also means fuel never touches the intake valves. It goes straight into the combustion chamber. As carbon builds on intake valves at high mileage and combustion efficiency dips, more unburned material reaches the converter. It compounds over time. And then there's the way EcoBoost trucks actually get used. A lot of F-150 owners with EcoBoost engines bought them for towing capability and use them as daily drivers. Short trips, light loads, urban commutes. The engine barely gets to stretch out. The converter rarely gets the sustained high-temperature operation it needs. Remote start makes it worse. Letting the engine idle for 10 minutes in the driveway every winter morning warms the cabin and does almost nothing for the converter. Idling generates low exhaust temperatures and deposits without the high-speed exhaust flow that clears them off. EcoBoost engines under light daily use are some of the most common PO420 situations I see walk through the door. I'm not going to tell you it's a conspiracy, it's simpler than that. A scan tool pulls a PO420 code. The converter reads low efficiency. The path that generates revenue for the service department is a new part and a big invoice. Dealers more often recommend replacement because it's straightforward and profitable, not because the scan tool is incapable of suggesting a highway drive. A catalytic converter replacement on an F-150 runs anywhere from $1,500 to $2,500 at most dealers, and in some configurations or regions, it can go higher. The book time is predictable, the parts margin is real, and the diagnostic outcome, low efficiency code, failed efficiency test, does point toward replacement. What that process skips is asking whether the low efficiency reading comes from a converter that's physically done or one that's just clogged and has never had a chance to burn clean. They can't bill you for 20 minutes on the interstate. They can bill you for a new converter. Japanese cars have the Japanese highway method. Old American truck mechanics had their own version. They called it giving the truck a real run. The principle is the same. You force the converter up to its cleaning temperature range and you hold it there long enough to do the job. What most drivers miss is that a normal highway cruise isn't enough. Cruising at 65 in overdrive keeps RPM low, maybe 1,600, 1,800 revolutions per minute. Exhaust temperatures at that load are moderate. We need sustained higher exhaust flow, which means sustained elevated RPM, for long enough to get the converter genuinely hot and keep it there. 20 years ago, trucks worked harder. They towed more on longer hauls. They spent more time at higher RPM on two-lane highways. The converter got its cleaning cycle naturally. Today, trucks are more powerful than ever, but a lot of them live easier lives. Short commutes, light loads, gentle throttle. The converter never gets what it needs. The American highway heat cycle gives it back deliberately. Give the converter the sustained heat it was designed to run at. That's the whole method. First, make sure the engine is fully up to operating temperature before you start. A cold run doesn't accomplish much. You need the whole system warm. Check your fuel level. You want at least a quarter tank, ideally more. Find a stretch of open interstate, long enough for 15 to 20 continuous minutes without stopping or significantly slowing down. This is the part most people get wrong when they say the method didn't work. 2 10-minute sessions on different days do almost nothing. The heat needs to build and stay. Think of it the way you think of boiling water. You can't boil half of it on Tuesday and the other half on Thursday. The converter needs to reach temperature and stay there. Engage tow haul mode if your F-150 has it. If not, use the manual shift selector to drop one gear from where the transmission would normally settle at highway speed. The goal is to hold RPM between 2,500 and 3,500, meaningfully higher than a relaxed highway cruise, but not thrashing the engine. Hold that RPM range at highway speed for 15 to 20 continuous minutes. Don't let up, don't slow down for traffic, don't exit early. You may notice a brief sulfur smell from the exhaust during or shortly after the run. That's deposits burning off. It fades quickly and it means the method is working. After the run, drive normally for the next 100 to 150 miles. The P0420 code won't disappear immediately. The ECM needs multiple drive cycles to reevaluate converter efficiency. If the heat cycle worked, the code will stay gone. 15 to 20 uninterrupted minutes at elevated RPM. Continuous, not broken into pieces. If you want to improve the odds, there's one type of fuel additive worth considering before the highway run. Look for products containing polyetheramine, PEA. Techron by Chevron is the most widely available. Gumout Regain High Mileage is another. PEA is a thermally stable detergent. Unlike most fuel additives that burn up completely in the combustion chamber and never reach the exhaust, PEA survives combustion and exit as an active chemical vapor. When that vapor passes through the exhaust system and contacts the converter's ceramic honeycomb, it works on the carbon deposits. The method? Add a concentrated dose to a quarter tank of fuel, a full bottle rather than the maintenance dose. Then top off and do the highway run. The PEA works on what the heat then clears. To be clear about what this is, PEA is not going to save a converter contaminated with oil or coolant. It's not going to fix a physically damaged substrate. And it's not a substitute for the heat cycle. It's a useful addition when you're dealing with carbon soot from normal combustion and want to improve the odds. PEA additive plus sustained highway heat. Neither alone does as much as both together. A lot of what separates a 100,000-mile F-150 from a 300,000-mile F-150 comes down to maintenance habits like this one. The things most owners don't know to do before something breaks. That's exactly what the Ford Longevity Blueprint covers. Link is in the description. A $25 OBD scanner can tell you more than a $1,000 guess. If you own one, pull your live oxygen sensor data after the treatment and a normal drive cycle or two. The upstream sensor before the converter should show a constantly fluctuating signal. It's monitoring the raw exhaust and bouncing continuously as the engine management system makes fine adjustments. That's normal. The downstream sensor after the converter should show a much more stable, relatively flat signal. A healthy converter smooths out what the upstream sensor sees. When the converter is clogged and inefficient, the downstream sensor starts mimicking the upstream sensor, both fluctuating in similar patterns, which is what triggers the P0420. After the heat cycle, if the downstream sensor is becoming more stable, converter efficiency is climbing back toward where it belongs. That's the data that tells you the method is working before the check engine light confirms it. Upstream fluctuates, downstream stabilizes. That's a converter doing its job. The heat cycle works on a clogged converter. It doesn't work on a damaged one. If you hear a rattle from under the truck when you rev the engine, a metallic sound from the exhaust area, the converter substrate is likely broken apart internally. Heat won't fix a shattered honeycomb. That's a replacement. If your engine is burning oil, consuming a quart or more between changes, blowing blue smoke on startup, the contamination is coating the precious metals inside the converter with phosphorus and zinc compounds. Fix the oil consumption first, otherwise you're cleaning a converter that will recontaminate within a few thousand miles. If there's been any coolant getting into the exhaust, the contaminant destroys the catalyst permanently. If the P0420 code returns quickly after the heat cycle, that's information. It may point toward a converter that's beyond cleaning, but before you conclude that, check whether the oxygen sensors are functioning correctly, whether there's an exhaust leak near a sensor, and whether the engine is running the correct fuel mixture. Rule those out before spending $2,500 on a replacement. And when you do need a replacement, get a second opinion. An independent exhaust shop will often do the same job for significantly less with an equally good part. Don't let the first quote be the final answer. Heat Cycle fixes clogged converters, not damaged ones. Know the difference before you start. Ford engineers designed catalytic converters to operate hot enough to clean themselves. That self-cleaning capability was built in deliberately. It's in there on purpose. The problem isn't usually the converter. The problem is that modern driving, short trips, light loads, remote starts, grocery runs, urban commutes, never gives it the chance. The converter sits at moderate temperatures for 50,000 miles and slowly accumulates deposits it was designed to burn off. 20 minutes on the interstate won't save every converter, but before you spend $2,300 replacing one, it's probably worth giving the original part one last opportunity to do what it was engineered to do. That's what I told the guy with the $2,300 quote. That's what he did. And that's what he saved. Ford Longevity Blueprint is in the description. If this helped you, hit subscribe. I'll see you in the next one.